It rained a strange, gelatinous substance, and then people started dying. In August 1994, the small town of Oakville, Washington, became the epicenter of an unexplained phenomenon that baffled scientists and terrorized residents. We will delve into the terrifying details of the Oakville Blobs, exploring every theory from extraterrestrial to biological warfare, and uncover why this mystery remains unsolved. The day began like any other, but by late morning, something profoundly unsettling descended upon Oakville. Residents reported a peculiar, soft, translucent rain falling from the sky, not water, but small, jelly-like masses that splattered upon impact. Initially, people were more curious than alarmed. One woman, Dottie Hearn, was driving with her son when the strange precipitation began. Her windshield was quickly covered, forcing her to pull over to clean it. What happened next transformed curiosity into genuine fear. Within hours of contact with the Blobs, many Oakville residents began experiencing severe flu-like symptoms, including nausea, dizziness, extreme fatigue, and respiratory distress. The town was gripped by an inexplicable illness. The most alarming aspect was the rapid onset and widespread nature of the sickness. Entire families fell ill simultaneously. This wasn't a typical flu season. This was something entirely new, directly linked to the bizarre rainfall. Even animals were affected. Dottie Hearn's cat, which had come into contact with the Blobs, became lethargic and eventually died. This raised the stakes significantly, confirming the toxic nature of the mysterious substance. Local authorities and health officials were quickly overwhelmed. They had no precedent for such an event, no protocol to follow. The air was thick with unease, the residents demanding answers that no one could provide. Samples of the Blobs were collected, most notably by Dottie Hearn, who placed them in a freezer. These samples would become crucial evidence, offering the only physical trace of the bizarre occurrence. Initial tests at a local hospital lab yielded perplexing results. Technicians reported finding human white blood cells within the gelatinous material. This discovery turned the already strange event into something truly unbelievable. The presence of human white blood cells suggested a biological origin, but how could such a substance fall from the sky? And why would it cause such severe illness? The questions mounted, each more unsettling than the last. Further analysis at the Washington State Department of Health lab provided conflicting information. One microbiologist, Mike McLean, reportedly found two types of bacteria, one of which was Bacillus fragilis, a common bacterium, but the other remained unidentified. However, subsequent tests, particularly by Dr. David L. Faulkner from the Department of Ecology, yielded no definitive answers regarding the white blood cells or specific pathogens. The initial findings seemed to vanish, adding another layer of mystery. The lack of consistent scientific findings fueled speculation and frustration. Was there a cover-up? Were the initial findings too alarming to be publicly acknowledged? The absence of clear answers only deepened the enigma. One prominent theory posited that the Blobs were star jelly or astral jelly, a substance reported throughout history, often associated with meteor showers. These encounters usually describe a translucent, gelatinous residue appearing after meteor events. However, traditional star jelly is usually inert and doesn't cause widespread illness or death. The Oakville Blobs were demonstrably toxic, distinguishing them from historical accounts of similar phenomena. Another popular theory, often embraced by the public, involved extraterrestrial origins. Perhaps the Blobs were alien organisms, waste products, or even remnants of an alien craft that disintegrated in the atmosphere. This idea resonated with many. The notion of alien involvement offered a convenient explanation for the inexplicable, but it lacked any concrete evidence. Scientists generally dismissed such theories without tangible proof, and none was ever found. Perhaps the most chilling theory suggested the Blobs were biological warfare agents. The presence of white blood cells and the rapid, severe illness could indicate a deliberately deployed pathogen. This invoked fears of secret government experiments gone wrong. If true, this would mean a deliberate attack or a catastrophic accident. The lack of transparency and the inconsistent scientific reports only fueled these suspicions, creating a climate of mistrust. Some proposed that the Blobs were jellyfish fragments. The Pacific Ocean isn't far from Oakville, and strong updrafts could theoretically carry marine organisms inland. However, the sheer volume and uniform size of the Blobs made this unlikely. Furthermore, the type of illness caused by the Blobs did not align with typical jellyfish stings or toxins. The respiratory and neurological symptoms pointed to something far more insidious than marine life. Another intriguing possibility possibility considered was that the blobs were waste from aircraft. Airplane lavatories sometimes discharge their contents mid-flight. However, this blue ice is usually solid and distinctly colored, not clear and gelatinous. Additionally, the sheer quantity of blobs and their widespread distribution over Oakville would indicate multiple discharges, making this explanation improbable. The substance simply didn't match known aircraft waste. The most scientifically grounded, yet still incomplete, theory revolves around biological contamination. The presence of bacteria, even common ones, combined with a nutrient-rich gelatinous medium could explain rapid growth and toxicity. But what was the source of this gelatinous medium, and why did it fall from the sky? These critical questions remained unanswered, preventing a definitive conclusion based solely on biological contamination. Let's consider a synthesis of existing data and plausible scenarios. The presence of human white blood cells, even if later disputed, is a powerful initial finding. What if the blobs were indeed biological matter, perhaps from a living creature? My own theory leans towards a highly unusual atmospheric event involving airborne biological material. Imagine a large flock of birds, perhaps during migration, caught in an updraft and then subjected to an extreme pressure change or even a mid-air explosion. This catastrophic event could have pulverized the birds, including their internal organs and blood, into a fine, aerosolized mist. This mist, then, could have condensed and coagulated into gelatinous blobs carried by air currents. The presence of human white blood cells could be a misidentification or a contamination of the initial samples. However, if truly present, it would indicate a more complex biological origin, possibly a very large mammal or a mixture of organisms. The rapid illness could be attributed to airborne toxins released from decomposing organic matter, or even specific pathogens present in the animal's biology becoming highly concentrated and virulent in this unusual form. The subsequent inconclusive tests could be due to degradation of the samples, lack of sophisticated equipment at the time, or perhaps even deliberate obfuscation if the source was deemed too sensitive or embarrassing to reveal. This theory accounts for the biological nature, the widespread distribution, the sudden appearance, and the toxicity. It moves beyond the purely fantastical while still acknowledging the extraordinary nature of the event. The Oakville blobs stand as a stark reminder of how little we truly understand about atmospheric phenomena and the hidden complexities of our own planet. A small town was terrorized by something that fell from the sky, and we still don't have a definitive answer. The incident highlights the limitations of scientific investigation when faced with truly unprecedented events. The initial panic, the inconsistent findings, and the subsequent silence all contribute to its enduring mystery. For the residents of Oakville, the memory of the blobs and the accompanying illness remains vivid. It's a scar on their history, a day when the sky itself seemed to turn against them, bringing sickness and fear. The Oakville blobs challenge our perception of reality, pushing us to consider possibilities beyond the ordinary. Were they a biological weapon, an alien encounter, or a bizarre natural phenomenon yet to be fully understood? The truth remains elusive, hidden somewhere in the scientific ambiguities and the chilling accounts of those who live through the rain of flesh. The sky, it seems, holds secrets we are not yet prepared to comprehend. What do you think really fell on Oakville that day? Share your theories in the comments below. We want to hear your perspective on this baffling unsolved mystery. If you are captivated by the unexplained and the unsettling, make sure to subscribe to Mind Unlocked for more deep dives into the world's most perplexing true crimes and unsolved mysteries.